I am super excited to introduce our keynote speaker today. Tracy Young is the co-founder and CEO of TigerEye, which is an AI-based planning and revenue management platform for sales leaders. But before that, she was the founder of PlanGrid, a construction productivity tool that was acquired by Autodesk in 2018. But most importantly, she's a mom, she's a good friend, and she always leads from vulnerability. So please help me welcome on stage Tracy Young.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me here, Pear VC. Let's see. Let's get some slides up. So I had the privilege to lead my last startup, PlanGrid, for nearly 10 years, and I led it as CEO until we got to 100 million in ARR, and I passed the baton, we got acquired, and our executive team ended up leading Autodesk's new construction business unit. So today, I'm going to be talking to you about PlanGrid and what worked there. Both of my companies are YC-backed, so I feel like YC's DNA is really deep. But this is one of my favorite quotes from Jessica, the co-founder of YC. There's a bunch of useful qualities in founders, but I've narrowed it down to the three most important: determination, domain expertise, and the ability to sell. At least one of you is going to have to sell. And this was true in our case. My last company, we were 5 co-founders. All of us were engineers, 2 construction engineers, 3 software engineers, and I ended up being the salesperson for the company. I didn't know that going into the journey, that one of us needed to be good at sales, but I ended up getting there. And it actually took us about 10 years to get really good at sales, and so it's actually an inspiration for my company, TigerEye, today. So there's many paths to 100 million. I know we're at the 1 million conference, but let's just touch on this. You've got a company like ServiceNow. You sell at 6 figures, you only need a few hundred customers. You look at a Salesforce, and this might be a little dated, so maybe their average sales price is a little bit higher or lower, I don't know. But at 5 figures and the low 17,000, 18, 20,000, you need 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 customers. PlanGrid's average sales price was a lot lower. We had a very transactional SMB mid-market business. By the time I left, our average customer size was about $8,000, and we needed 12,000, 15,000 to get to that mark. Here's some benchmarks. Use this as a case study. We got to 100 million in 8 years. And specifically, this talk is going to focus on going from 200K to like 0 to 5 million in ARR. And we did this without a sales team, without a quota-carrying sales team, mostly because I didn't know how to run a sales team. There's plenty of people in the company doing sales, but we didn't have enterprise salespeople on the team. So what we did well was that we knew our customers really well. We had a clear definition of customers that everyone in the company understood, down to our engineers. And our definition of customer was every construction project. If they had a unique construction project address, that would be a customer. Because you could look at a Turner Construction who builds globally, but we felt strongly that each job site just had a different buying decision, had a different budget, had different people making the decisions, and so we went after the projects. And once you know your customer, you can come up with a list of people you want to sell to or customers you want to sell to. So the first thing we did was, since we were based out of San Francisco Bay Area, we wrote down every single big construction project going on in the Bay Area. And we found our way to as many of them as we could, whether we would get connected through a foreman, whether we would show up at their job site, whether we'd show up at their office. We had a target list. And you can track this, of course, in CRM, but at this stage, in this early stage of PlanGrid, we just tracked it on a Google spreadsheet. We understood the difference between our users, our buyers, and deployers. This is really important. I think it took me a few years in to really understand that. We were so laser focused on the end user. We were so proud of being the company that wrote software for people who took showers at night. We bragged that we weren't the people who built software for people who took showers in the morning. We wanted to build software to make the field worker do their jobs better. We understood their fears and desires. This helps us have a productive conversation with our customers. And we also understood how money flowed through construction projects. Because at the end of the day, solving a pain point isn't enough. Of course, that's like table stakes. You have to be able to solve someone's problem, but you also have to do it in a way where there's a budget line item to pay for your thing. So, PlanGrid's 3 buyers. We had our user in the field in the hard hat. We had our office person who controlled the budgets. And then we had someone in the office who was in charge of security and deploying the software. So for this end user, their fear was a delay in schedule, or even worse, having an accident on the job site and someone not making it home that day. For the money manager, they were responsible for making sure that their construction project's profitable. So their fear was losing money on the project. And for the CIO, of course, as with any good CIO, you're scared of security issues and losing the company's data or deploying the wrong software and choosing the wrong software. And so if you understand your buyers, both your user, your buyer, your deployers, if you understand their fears, now you can actually have a conversation with them that is meaningful to them, because everything you say is gonna touch on what they want to happen, and you reassure them that you're gonna make sure their biggest fear doesn't happen because of what you've built for them. We were also really good at slicing our market into multiple dimensions. We looked at our customer by customer type, building owners, general contractors, subcontractors. We looked at our business from a regional basis, growth in San Francisco Bay Area, growth in Texas, growth in New York, growth in Seattle, Washington, growth in Asia Pacific, growth in EMEA. We also looked at it from a building type standpoint. This is a commercial office building. This is a heavy civil project. It's roadways, it's treatment plants, or they're residential buildings. Industries, we also looked at the type of building. So this is a subset of the building type: condominiums, hospitals, universities, offices. And then we also looked at our market from bottoms up, just from a people perspective. This was actually, we had to put in a lot of tooling to do this. We had a whole data team that was responsible for this. This is actually what TigerEye does really, really well on, when you guys get to this point. The whole reason you want to slice your market in multiple ways is it's always about growth levers as you're thinking about investment and where to grow. And so I could have an initiative, I could look at this business and then see that, hey, we've got 5 hospital projects. If you look at industries as an example, we've got 5 hospital projects, and all of them are happy, and all of them are paying us $50,000 or more, which is way higher than our average sales customer size. I want us to focus on hospitals this quarter. And what that means is I'm gonna put budget and calories into going after every hospital owner: Kaiser Permanente, Sutter Hospital, UCSF, Cleveland Clinic. And then there's this big push in the company, usually on the marketing side. I mean, of course you can build special products for them too, but that's much more expensive. It's much easier just to put just marketing material out there into the world. And then there's a big push for hospitals, right? And so like a year later, we went from 5 hospitals to 50 hospitals. You're always looking for levers to grow and where to put your energy. And hopefully, there's enough people behind this to make it happen. We understood how money flowed through construction companies. So usually for a big ENR top 400 company, this is very construction domain jargon, but there's a construction company at the headquarters. They've got different regional offices, and each regional office is in charge of some construction project. So we start off by going to HQ. HQ is like, get the hell out of here. we're never gonna buy startup software. Like, I don't even know if you have enough money to be around next month, okay? We went to the regional offices, the same problem. Just no one trusts us. I mean, at the time we were like in our mid-20s, we were like, you know, why would they trust us? We're like, we're a part of YC. And they're like, get out of here. So we went all the way down the projects, and we went to the superintendents, the foremans, the project engineers, and we said, we know your problem. We have the solution. It's built up from mobile first. Again, this is 2012, so Steve Jobs had recently just announced the first generation iPad, and we said, this is perfect for you. You should buy these. You should launch our software. You should give it to all your field workers. And we made a compelling sell at the field level. And so we got really good at that. So we would land, let's say, a project in San Francisco, and then we would ask them to introduce us to their friends over at the other regions. And then we would somehow get enough density where we can then go to the regional offices and say, hey, you don't want to like pay us 500 times their 500 invoices, one seat at a time. You want to negotiate a regional deal with you. We'll cut you a bigger discount. And then once there's enough density, we were able to go up to HQ and sell that enterprise deal, because it was much easier to sell 1,000 licenses at a time than 5 at a time at the project level. But we worked our way there. We landed, we expanded, and then we got them to standardize on PlanGrid. And I remember having these enterprise reps come in later on in PlanGrid's history, and you know, they would have like $800,000 quota, and they would be really excited going to some $2 billion construction project. And they would get so bummed out because they'd say, Tracy, like, you know, we should have gotten a, you know, whatever, $100,000 deal here, but they're too scared. And I was like, well, just get the one. Just get one person to use PlanGrid on the project, because we're gonna get more. And I just show them the data. If we sold $1 this year, our net retention, we would sell $1.30 the next year, right? So our expansion strategy was very successful. We also went to a lot of user conferences, or we just went to where our users were at. So for the construction crew, they were either building on the job site, or sometimes they would show up at construction trade shows. This was so important to our marketing strategy. By the time I left PlanGrid and Autodesk, the field marketing team was doing 300 events each year. Of course, not all of them were gigantic national events. I think we only did like 12 to 20 national events and maybe like a handful of international events. And then most of them were just regional, local breakfasts, golf tournaments, union hall events, et cetera, et cetera. But we showed up there in person, and I actually personally really like events. I actually just came from a go-to-market event over at the Marriott this morning, where our team's at. So a couple notes here. The clock hasn't been ticking, so I have no idea how much time I have left. But okay, a couple of notes here. You want to be creative about how you show up in front of your users. In the early days, we couldn't afford I mean, if you look at any of these booths here, they're probably, I'm gonna guess, like $100,000 to have a booth like this. And then if you want carpet and chairs, it's gonna be another $5,000. It's really expensive. So at the early stage, we couldn't afford that, but we could afford that $100 ticket. So 2 of us would buy a $100 ticket, and we were lucky that it was easy to demo our software. You know, we were mobile first. So we'd go there with our iPads, and we would just start bumping into people and grabbing people, and we'd say, do you want to see something cool? And then it would take us half a minute to demo PlanGrid. And they would be like, oh, that's cool. And it's like, hey, here's my card, or let me get your card. Why don't I show you the full demo? Because we obviously do much more than this. And then this is actually, there's a term for this. It's called carpet bagging. And you don't know what carpet bagging is until someone comes up to you and yells at you for carpet bagging a conference. But you know, we still did this. Even at TigerEye, just last year we did this. We bought, you know, we didn't want to pay for the $20,000 conference, so we just like sent a couple people there. We were also, we're like, I'm very serious about like attire here. So at PlanGrid, we made these, we had like a local fashion student make these blueprint suits. So it's like this beautiful gown made out of blueprints, and then this like men's version of that, like I forget, it was like a suit plus like a top hat, and we would walk the conference all geared up, all looking good. And at TigerEye, we've got these tracksuits that have like, it's gold tracksuit, there's tigers all over it, and you can imagine like 3 of us, actually the team's there right now, so there's 3 of them there in their TigerEye tracksuits, and it just stops people. They're like, why are you dressed like that? But what we're trying to do is just get attention at these conferences, and this is like a really easy way to do it. Job sites. So you could just walk into a job site. Someone will yell at you, so we made sure everyone had the proper PPE, hard hat, safety vest, safety glasses. The other thing we knew is that everyone who works on a job site is hungry, because you're on your feet all day, you're working. So we would go in with donut boxes just filled up, like 2 dozen donuts, fresh. And we'd drop it off, and we'd leave a card, and it'd say, if you want better food, just call us. We'll come in during lunch. We'll bring burritos, we'll bring pizza, we'll bring sandwiches, whatever you want. Just like call us, we'll come in with better food. And this was so successful that our marketing team actually printed out special PlanGrid. There were, like the pink boxes that you get at donut shops. They printed out blue versions in PlanGrid Blue with PlanGrid on it. And so you get a box of donuts with PlanGrid, and then again, like a 1-pager and a card, and then they would just show up and we just drop off donuts at job sites. And let's say that 20% of the time, or maybe even 10% of the time, they would call us and say, come back, I want to see a demo, come bring us like pizza and burritos. And that was how we were able to meet our users. Lead gen, pick up the phone and talk to users. I feel like in this AI age, I, as a founder, and I'm sure you guys too, I get blasted with AI emails. It sucks. I just go through every morning in my inbox and I click through about 20 emails and I just trash it, right? It's actually shocking for people to get a phone call from a human or to see someone in real person. I just feel like that person connection doesn't go away, and it might be better in this like AI world. So as founders, you can make 1,000 cold calls. This will help you refine your pitch. You call your trial users, you call your prospects, you call your customers. You say, hey, this is Tracy with PlanGrid. I noticed you just did this. Is there anything I can help you with? You just get into a conversation with them and you're trying to learn more about their needs. You call your trial user, hey, I saw you just downloaded PlanGrid. Are you working on a construction project? Do you need help? The next step is to upload your blueprints into PlanGrid. Let me walk you through it right now. You're just trying to move them along your process. Sales is all psychology. People can tell if you're trying to sell them garbage. Build something people want, believe in the power of your product, believe in yourself, believe in your product. People can feel that. I learned this from actually a sales leader I actually ended up firing, but this is the best thing I learned from him. He said, because he was like an amazing enterprise sales rep in his days, he said, when I sell $1 million deal, and this is what I coach our reps to do, I go back and I call. I'm in such a high, because I've just got this huge commission check. I go back to everyone that said no to me, and I call them and I tell them about that deal. And like maybe 1 out of 50 will be like, actually, I'm interested in it. Why don't you demo to me again? Right? Because they can hear how excited, they can hear your energy, and they're just like, wait, am I missing out on something? Especially if you name drop their competitor. And people love buying stuff from their trusted partner. It's crazy. I was a construction engineer by training. I didn't expect to be an expert in sales, but I ended up being one because, and I'm a good salesperson, because I don't go in trying to sell someone stuff. I go in trying to understand your problems, and I really believe that I've got a solution that can help you. So I'm their trusted business partner. Get prospects into the right swim lanes. An average deal size for PlanGrid was like whatever, less than $10,000. So our deals could be anywhere from $500 a year to $1.5 million a year. Obviously, we had a lot less million-dollar deals. So for our sales reps, it was really, and this is true for everyone, especially founders, the only resource you're not getting more of is time. So you're not gonna let anyone waste it. So if it's just a $500 deal, that's it. They're getting that one phone call, they're maybe getting a couple emails, and then maybe they get another 10-minute phone call again. If it's a $500,000 deal, our reps are camping out on that job site until they sell that deal, right? You get them in the right swim lanes and you allocate your time and energy as it makes sense. Don't sell them, lead them. Everyone's lives are chaotic. Everyone's business is messy. Everyone is overwhelmed with too many things to do. So you come in and you help bring chaos to their organization. You ensure that they have all the information they need. You ensure that you're the one scheduling for them. You help them organize at every step. You ask them at every meeting, what are the next steps? What do you need help with? Who are the decision makers? And they say whatever, oh, I need Eric and Sally to be at the next meeting to evaluate this. Great, just give me their emails or their assistant's emails and I will coordinate the meeting. What else do you need? You know, I would like some information. Great, you make sure that information hits their inbox so they can circulate with their team, but you make sure that you are not a burden to them, that you are making their lives better. Also, you shrink the sales cycle. The way you shrink the sales cycle is if someone tells you to call them next month, you call them in 3 weeks. They're not gonna notice the difference. Someone says, call me next week, you call them on a Monday, you don't call them on a Friday. Every single day you can shave off equates to years, eventually. You listen way more than you speak, and you speak succinctly. When someone asks you if your product does X, and it does X, you just say yes, followed by a period. So many times I have seen reps say, yes, and we also do this, this, and this, and this. It's like, that was not the question. You just answer yes to the first one, and then you listen. You price higher, and you discount if needed. If you have to raise your prices at some point, you just grandfather everyone in existing. You're just like, you get to be on the old pricing, and everyone new's on the new pricing. And then if there's any changes though, so it's like a cell phone plan, if you want to add more minutes, you want to add more users, you're now on the new plan. And that's how you get people to go to the new one. I think that's all I want to say about this one. And you ask for their business. You say, what are the next steps before you can make a decision? And they say, well, I have all the information I need. And you look them in the eye, even if it's through Zoom. Without hesitation, you say, can you sign today? Maybe 1 out of 50 times, they'll be like, yeah, actually, I can. And it's gonna feel really, really good for you that day. And you never, ever leave a meeting without knowing what the next steps are. So here's the summary of what worked out well for us, which I think is like a lot of good practices and just what I've learned about sales over the years. And I'll leave you guys with another tip. 2 more tips. Understand the cost of enterprise sales. Maybe some of you are ready to hire your sales leader, hire your sales team. Just know it's gonna be expensive. The good ones are making anywhere between $200K to $1 million a year. And you're not gonna know if your sales leader is good for a whole year. And you wanna keep them in that spot for that year because a bunch of deals might show up in the last quarter. And any good team is going to be expecting a lot of help along the way. They're gonna expect marketing, they're gonna expect customer success, they're gonna expect post-sales, just a lot of non-quota carrying people to help them get to the number. And you have to have an enterprise-ready product. Goal, and this is table stakes, security compliance, SOC 2 Type 2, SSO, ISO 27002, license management, maybe on-prem support. There's a playbook for enterprise, and it requires a team to build it. Just understand the cost. You might want to go this direction. Just want to make sure this is a good investment for you. Final tip is, you always hear this from founders, hire slow, fire fast. It took me probably 10 years to fire well. This is how I do it. Person isn't working out, you have to spit this out one way or another. Sit them down and you tell them, these are the expectations of the job. You're not meeting the expectations. You can't meet these expectations by a certain date, you just need to part ways. You try to soften it with, I want you to be happy, You're so good at this. I want you to be happier sometimes. That's all I have. I should actually end this deck with there we go. Thank you.